I am back with my co-host Tasha for Horror Bestie Breakdown, a series where we take really ridiculous horror movies and break them down and talk about them. When last we met, we did Velocipaster. Heck of a good time. If you haven't seen the movie or watched our weird episode on it, please do. And this time we will be we'll be diving into the 2014 ridiculous movie Zombeavers.
I see what you did there.
I pulled a Tasha is what I did.
You did pull a Tasha.
Are you mad I beat you to it?
No.
So the tagline for this is "You'll all be damned." And it's a obviously it's a horror, it's a comedy, but a fun weekend turns into madness and horror for a bunch of groupies looking for fun in a beaver infested swamp.
Groupies? Really?
Groupies, and then they use the word swamp. It's a lake. It's not a swamp.
A lake. That's weird.
Lake. I don't know. Who knows who writes those things. This was a first watch for me, you as well, right?
Yeah.
First of all, I feel like when you go into movies like this, you have like a very kind of, you think you have an idea, I did not, in fact. There's like a point in the movie where they added something, and I messaged you. We were talking about this in messaging. I did not know they were going to do that, and it had me just like completely bamboozled. I was like, I did not think you could surprise me, but here we are. So,
it's another one of those movies that just has no business being as good as it is. Like,
it was ridiculously fun. Yeah. So it's these three friends go out to spend a weekend, just the three of them, because one of them's boyfriend cheated on her, and so they're like, "Oh, let's go have like a girls' weekend." And so they do for like a little bit, and then the guys show up, of course, including the one that cheated. And so there's a little bit of drama there, and then all hell breaks loose because of this guy driving a truck. I think the truck scenes were probably some of the best scenes. Like, they were a riot. So the movie starts out with these two guys riding in a truck, and they're having obscene conversation. Like, they are just talking about the craziest stuff. And he's like, "There's a deer in the road." And the guy's like T9 texting, and he's like, "I see it." He's like, and he hits it. When he hits it, this barrel of goo falls off the truck, goes into the water. That's what causes the zombie beavers. And so, so then they start coming out of the water and causing mayhem.
I'm trying to think. Oh, Bill Burr. Yeah, I was not prepared. Oh, shut up. What? Do you know who the other dude in the truck was?
Other than Bill Burr?
Yeah. John Mayer.
You're joking.
I swear to God.
He was the guy that was like, oh, wow.
John Mayer.
Are you looking at these? Okay, sorry. So now you've got me on this loop. So Backstreet Boys are given credit as the Zombeaver bear.
What? Where are you looking?
At the bottom of IMDb.
Oh, see, I'm on Letterboxd.
Oh, I don't even know. Anyway, but yeah, so this was another one. This was super fun. I was not invested in the drama or the emotions of this one, but I just couldn't. I laughed at a lot of the absurdity, such as one would do watching. What?
That just blew my mind.
I had no idea. Well, because he has facial hair.
Yeah, they put all the hair on him and like the mutton chops or whatever.
See, like any of his features on his face.
Whew. Wow. Sorry, I gotta rein it back.
Needed a second. Yeah.
Just wasn't prepared for that. Like, I recognized the driver. but
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't think off the top of my head who it was. But and there
Yeah.
was I can't remember what his name was, but like the big redneck dude that saves him from the
Mhm.
bear the first time around,
Yeah.
Smith with a Y.
Yes.
It's I've seen him in a lot of stuff too. He's one of those guys like you see him all the time, but you don't actually know what his name is.
Yeah, I think it was Rex Lynn is his name.
Yeah, see, I've seen him in a million things, but I have no idea what his name is.
Yeah. But
We'll
yeah, no,
never remember.
this was super fun. I was like, it's such an absurd movie. And then I was laughing because when I posted that I was watching it, and then when you posted you were watching it, Norin, who is a friend of ours, was like, I love this movie. And I'm like, I I don't love it. But I just it's so crazy to me that it does, I think, typically get a decent amount of love. Like people really do find this movie entertaining, very funny.
It
It's
does.
probably because, I mean, premise alone, but the characters are like the worst. Like
Yeah,
the
there.
worst.
It's another one. I know I said this in the Velocipaster episode too, but it's one where they lean into the stereotypes, but then they don't end up being exactly what you think they're gonna be. Like they're sorority girls, and then you have the one that's like all about getting laid, and then you have the one that looks like she's just got her nose in the book all the time, and then you have the one that's like probably like the happy medium between the two. And then the guys show up, and there's the jock, and there's the goofball, and then like the emo rock dude.
They're all like,
And
yeah, they definitely have very specific archetypes. The what was his
yeah.
name? Buck, the Buck boyfriend was like the most ridiculous one. He was like
It was.
when there was that when they thought something was in there and they were gonna go look initially, he's like in the back, in like the back, like behind the girls going, "Don't be a bitch." He's like all the way in the back of the group, and he's like, "Yeah, don't be scared. Don't be a little bitch." Meanwhile, he's like miles away from the trouble. I thought that was so funny.
Right?
But
He's like
it's a
yelling
bunch
from
of
the
stuff.
driveway.
Yeah. It's a bunch of stuff like that though, that kind of humor of just like circumstantial stuff. And then there's like these moments where these characters are like deplorable. Like Buck takes the dog and throws the dog in the water when
No,
they're
it
being
wasn't Buck.
attacked.
It was
Oh, it wasn't Buck, it was
Sam.
Sam. Yeah.
Yeah, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Whew. I had to cover Ripley's eyes because she was watching it with me, and I was like, "It's okay. I love you. I will never let anybody do that to you."
Oh my god. Yeah, so they do that, and then you find out, like, towards the end, although I felt like it was kind of obvious once he got there, but you find out, like, getting towards like, 3rd act of the movie that the person in the picture that he cheated with is actually the girl one of the girls that's already there, like, one of the best friends.
Yeah,
And,
like her best friend.
yeah, and it's like so you hate them. Like, you, like, don't even care if they survive, you just want crazy stuff to happen, like, while
Yeah.
they're there. No, it was super fun. I think that, like, it was so it gets to this point where you see the beavers are affected and they're biting and they're attacking, like, our main group of people. But, like, I didn't expect that to really mean anything, like, and then you get the blonde, I think it's the blonde you see do it first, where she turns
Yeah.
into a beaver. I was like,
Yes.
what is happening in this movie right now?
I
I
would have
was
sworn that was a nightmare scene. Like I thought she was sleeping and she was gonna wake up and they were just gonna launch
Oh
into
yeah, because
whatever
she's like,
next
I'm not
scene.
into you like that. And you're thinking, like, what is happening? She's supposed to be mad at her. Like, what is going on right now?
Right?
And then she gets in and you see the teeth and the face is all messed. It's like, what
And it's so hard to be afraid of something with teeth like that. Like you just
I could not agree more. It is so, and it was so funny because, like, I just genuinely, because I don't know if that's something that's like revealed in the trailer, but I went into this like completely blind. Like, I didn't watch anything, I didn't look at picture, I knew literally nothing about this movie. And
yeah.
and it was like when that happened, I was just like, oh, this is reached like whole other level of insanity at this point, because what in the actual hell? I was not prepared for the zombie beavers to bite humans and turn them into zombie beavers. Like that was not on my movie
And then
bingo
when
list.
she's like thumping her tail against the
I
ground again.
cannot. Oh my God, awful. Like so awful you cannot help but laugh though. It's very entertaining at the very least. It's
It
very
was. It
entertaining.
was very
But like I
entertaining.
was I was like watching this movie and then I'll let you talk about this part because I know this was like probably one of this might be equally a
My
favorite part of
favorite.
this movie. Yeah.
I know
But
exactly what it is.
yeah, she like, she changes into this thing and they lock her away and they're trying to escape. And it's just the three of them left, which is another kind of tropey situational
Tropey.
thing where they leave the two cheaters with the girlfriend that was cheated on. And oh, sorry. And then so there's like all three of them together. And so they're like, oh my God, what do we do? So they go in the bathroom and they're like, looking for bites, and then they end up having this moment where you think they're gonna like actually have sex like randomly in the middle of this apocalyptic situation, and then
They kind of start to. And then they had made mention before of how beavers tunnel. And she tunnels under the floor into the bathroom and pops up and bites his dick off. And it wasn't a nice clean bite.
oh God,
Like
she like
rips
latches
and
on.
tears and strings hanging.
Oh my God, the
Ugh,
body horror in this is actually very well done. Like
it is.
it's really well done. But yeah,
That
it was
karma though.
just
Oh my God. Even like not even getting into the cheating part, just for throwing the dog to the beavers.
yeah, because it's
That
the same
was
guy, right? Yeah.
I was
Like
just like,
we
fuck
just
you.
know
You
like
earned
he's
that.
not the best person. And so we're just like, but
It's
again,
not.
none of them are super likable. Like you don't really care if any of them survive. And it works
Yeah.
for a setup like this because it's just meant to be chaos. Like the whole thing is just meant to
Yeah.
be crazy deaths and violence and gore. And I will say I think the beavers I thought looked pretty good. They're remote control for the most part. And I thought they looked really good, surprisingly though, right? And
So
the body horror in this was like really good. Like it looked very visceral and like especially
yeah.
that one scene we were just talking about. Like you hurt almost for him, but also you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you get.
Like one of the other guys, like he gets his throat ripped out or something, and like
Oh
it's a
yeah.
mess. There's no clean, these big ass teeth, like they're not sharp, they're just
Yeah.
ripping and tearing and oh, so good. And I love that they didn't like from the way the characters are set up at the beginning, I thought I knew who was gonna make it out. I
Yeah,
thought
same.
Jen was gonna be the
Yep.
last one out.
Yep, same.
Um, and then they twist that and it's not Jen that makes it because she's the first Zombeaver.
Yep.
And but then like with the whole thing at the are we spoiling?
Yeah, we can. It'll be fine. This movie's been out for a while. It's not really
That's
meant to
true.
be like some deep, powerfully
I don't want to
strong.
ruin Zombeavers for
Yeah, no,
somebody.
like yeah, I don't think you can ruin this movie. It's an experience in and of itself. So yes, go ahead.
When Zoe, the one that's like the promiscuous one that they
Yes.
paint her as at the beginning,
Yeah.
she's like limping her ass down the road, and you see the same dudes in the beginning from the truck, and he's like, "Oh, hey, there's a girl there. Yeah, I see her." Bam.
He says, I trust you. Then he hits her and then
This dude's
title
done it
card.
before.
So good. Blood
And then
everywhere.
it
Oh
goes
my
into the
God.
bloopers, which are
The
oh,
bloopers, I'm telling you right
oh
now,
my
and I think
god.
I told you this after I watched them anyway. The bloopers, I'm not lying to you. They're not only like a couple minutes. They're not very long. They
Yeah.
made this movie for me because of the
Oh,
scenes they specifically showed them in. Oh my
yeah.
God, I was dying.
For the two guys in the truck, I mean, obviously they play a very pivotal role because them hitting the deer at the beginning is what lets this
Starts
chemical
the
into the
whole thing.
water and all that.
Yeah.
So in a way, they're like pivotal characters, but I think they're probably my favorite.
Oh my God.
That
Who
them
said
and the neighbor lady. I can't
Oh, I
remember
love
what
her.
her
When
name
she's
is.
talking about her daughter, she's like, "Oh, no, honey, I get it. My daughter's a this and that too." And I was yeah, they were
She brings home everybody. I don't even know who they are.
and she says, "And it's fine, but it just anybody." She's just like she's like, I don't care that some of them are women. They're just weird. We don't know who they are." It's funny. That was really funny.
It's just
I love
everybody.
the truck guy's conversations were so funny though, because he's like talking about how so Bill Burr's character is talking about how he was gay for like a week or something. He was like, it was the happiest relationship I've ever been in. He said, we agreed on everything. He's like, and then the John Mayer character is like, I see a lot of myself in that situation. He goes, there is no you in this situation. And then
It's one of those like, but hear me out kind of
I
thing.
know. He's like, oh God, that yeah, their chemistry together in the truck was super funny. Like they were, yeah. And a
You
good
know they had
majority of
fun.
the outtakes is them in the truck just saying random stuff that didn't even make it into the
No,
movie.
none of that was scripted. I'll bet you they sat the two of them in that truck and were like just having bullshit conversation.
And then
And then
that's what
that's
happened.
what happened.
The one I will say this without being too graphic, because this is going to be on YouTube, but the scene, the blooper that made me laugh the most was when Buck and Zoe are in the bedroom, and he's like, "Why are you with me?" And he's like saying all these weird, just like off the wall things, and she's trying so hard. Zoe,
He's
the girl that plays
serious.
Zoe, is trying so hard to keep it together so they can get it on camera, but she is like busting out, like she's trying so hard not to laugh. But he's like,
Ugh,
"I'm not, I'm worthless." He's like saying all this just like off the wall shit. Oh my god, I was
redeeming
dying.
qualities.
The "Why are you with me" had me completely messed up. I was just like,
It was so funny. And yeah,
oh.
it just they had a blast
Oh, you can
making that
tell.
movie.
They had a lot
And
of fun making that movie, and I
yeah,
really,
the kills were
it was
great.
cool. It's getting to see
The
the bloopers
effects
like
once everybody starts turning into the beavers and stuff like that. When they're
yeah.
like chewing the trees down to try to keep them
The
from
people
escaping.
are doing it. Oh my god, that was bananas. Yes. I had forgotten
Oh,
about
it's
that,
so
so
funny.
good shout, yeah. This is like
The
some
tree falls and then the dude's just like, what the fuck? We didn't make it.
it's
What do
the
we do now?
it's the abrupt look up that made me laugh, is the way he did it. And then you know what I thought was really funny in the first maybe like, I don't know, like half hour of this movie when I can't remember who all's saying what or whatever, but one of the girls is like this is the first third of the movie. She's like, "Can we please stop with all the beaver jokes?" And it's so funny because that's super meta, right? Given
Oh
the
yeah.
circumstance of the situation and everything. So it's just really funny. Like when she says that, I was just like, and then they didn't tell a single one after that. But before that, it was like constant jokes about it,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
think probably the one that got me because it's the bad guy that initially has the bat and is gonna like kill this beaver, and
Oh,
then it ends up being the jock that does it.
yeah.
And they're like, "Too bad you didn't kill that beaver, because that's the only one you're getting to kill this weekend." Like, just
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yes. I forgot about that specific line. Yeah, because that would have been
um,
Sam, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Our
Tommy, I think,
villain
was the
boyfriend.
yeah. I think Tommy was the jock,
Tommy.
but yeah, they just they leaned into that so hard. And there were a lot of times like they did the exact opposite. Like when they
Yeah.
go into the bathroom, I'm like, oh, this zebra. Wow. Zombeaver. So like it's a zombie who likes Justin Bieber, a zebra.
Zebra. Zebra.
Why do you let me do this stuff with you?
Because it's funny. And because
Oh
we always
yeah.
have a good time.
Yeah, we do. Um,
Because this is what our
yeah,
normal conversations are like. It's not really that far off, you know.
it's
It's
not.
just in
The
video
difference is it's
format
being
versus
recorded.
voice notes and text messages.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought they were gonna do a fake out with that one because they go into the bathroom and they can't find it. So
oh
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
they're gonna set her up to like be crazy, and they're just gonna like
It's gonna
make
kind of
fun
ride
of
that
her this
part
whole
out.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it pops out from underneath the sink. I was like,
I loved the way these stupid things moved. It was a riot. Oh, that was the other outtake I thought was so funny was we were talking about how upset we were about the dog situation. But in the outtake, the dog's just like hanging out with the beavers in the water. He's like, you're supposed to be scared of
afraid
them.
him.
Yeah. That was
That'd be
really
Ripley.
cute.
That's like my description of her to anybody who's never met my dog is like, if she were a kid, she would be chasing the white van, like, hey, I heard you have candy. Like that is her personality. She would kidnap herself indirectly because she would just be like to everybody. Everybody's her best friend. No stranger danger
That was how this
whatsoever.
dog was. This dog was like chilling on the beavers while they're controlling them in the water. That was hilarious because he's supposed to be getting eaten by them. And he's just like, look at my new friends. Like, he's just chilling in the water. That was
He was so cute.
hilarious. I'm glad
Oh, he
they
was so
included
cute.
those. They really did make a lot of those scenes better, I think. Because the outtakes
Yeah.
are really, really funny. Really funny.
Yeah. And it was just so devastating to me when they threw that dog into the water for
I was
bait.
like,
And I was like,
well, and it kind of feels out of place given everything else that's happening. So I was like not
yeah.
expecting it either. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And yeah, they moved past it pretty quickly though, like
They
because there's
did.
too much going on, I guess, but
Yeah.
but anyway, but yeah, so we kind of already talked about our favorite part. Do you know what you want to rate this?
I think I have to give this a I think I have to give it a Taken.
Yeah? Okay.
I think so.
4 out of 5. Okay. I'm gonna give it the crop circles. I'm gonna give it a 3.
Okay.
Because it was super funny, but it's not so funny, and I didn't enjoy it like so much that I would just throw it on and rewatch it,
Crop circles too.
Oh, I meant what I mean to say.
Seeing a life form.
Life form. Sorry, life form. We'll get used to it. I'll get used to it.
Someday.
Life form. I'm gonna go. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I saw it next to 3, like, how, so StreamYard, for anyone who doesn't know this, when you type things, even if you have them on different lines, StreamYard jumbles them all together and it just totally messes everything up. So you're right. Crop circles is 2. So I'm going to give it a 3. I'm going to give it life form where, because I think it's super entertaining. Glad I watched it. Probably not going to be on a constant rewatch for me though. No, I really, really did think it was a super funny one though. I really did like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. It was creative for all things considered.
Yeah. And so so that kind of leads us to our little bonus topic before we wrap up here, which is 2 non-zombie characters that would survive the longest in an apocalypse. So yeah, anybody that's in a non-zombie movie or show but would survive maybe in this type of environment.
Oh man, I went like total non-horror.
No, mine's not horror either.
Okay. I was like, oh, I did the assignment and then some. Like,
yeah, well, I picked, so full disclosure, mine, I have an animated and I do have one horror. My second one is a horror character, but my first one is not at all. So do you want to do your first one and then I'll do my first one and then?
My first one is Branch from Trolls. Like, this dude, he's got his whole bunker. He's got all his supplies, everything he's gonna need for like, what is it, 10 years or something like
it's
that?
Something like that, a long time.
Yeah, like these zombies are gonna be done and officially decomposed and shit by the time he comes out of his bunker.
Yeah,
he's gonna make it.
Yeah. So I didn't pick an animated strictly because you picked one, but this one did come into mind. We were talking about Branch. And that's Buck from Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs. So he's played by, for anyone who doesn't know, he is played by Simon Pegg. But yeah, Buck from Ice Age. Dawn of the Dinosaurs.
Simon Pegg.
It's Simon Pegg, but it's not a zombie movie, so I'm still within the parameters. But he's like
That's fair.
wackadoodle. Like he's crazy in this, but he's a survivalist. He survives down there with dinosaurs. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like if you could survive with dinosaurs, you could probably survive.
I would say so.
I wonder if I
like
picked this because I had dinosaurs on the brain from the last bastard.
maybe.
Whoops.
And I mean, I feel like dinosaurs would be harder to like. They just seem like they would be capable of more in-depth thought. As I mean, maybe that's Jurassic Park talking because they're like super smart in Jurassic Park, but
yeah,
as opposed to a zombie that's not necessarily like coherent,
usually
processing at the rate that it would be. Dinosaurs firing on all cylinders. Basically.
I agree. No, I get that. Sure, yeah, but yeah, that was my first pick. So, what was your second pick?
My second one is a duo. It is Hub and Garth from Secondhand Lions, which you need to watch. But it is these two crazy uncles that just like the second somebody comes up the driveway, like they're sitting there with their shotguns and they're like, I don't know who this is, but they got no business being on our property, and just like immediately run them off every time. So they're just cranky old men that don't give a shit. And if that's not going to get you through a zombie apocalypse,
yeah, no, I think that's a good shout. Yeah.
No outside emotional attachments. Like they don't give a shit about anybody that's coming up on us. Yeah.
My other pick, my second one that I picked is Erin from Your Next. Erin, if you haven't seen Your Next, Erin is grew up in a survivalist camp. So she knows how to do a lot of things. Like a lot of things. She knows how to make traps and she knows how to fight and she knows how to wrap wounds up and she knows, and I just feel like she would be an immense asset to the end of the world. Also, I love her.
She would.
Any female that puts somebody's face in a blender, I'm here for it. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
That's checking a check for me. Like,
yeah.
Green flags all
any
around.
woman off enough, like, it's going down
for sure. Yeah, so she was my second pick is Erin from Your Next because I thought, she's
pick.
got the history.
She does. She proves herself.
Yeah. Yep. And the girl that plays her plays in that shark movie Bait, the one where they're stuck in the store. Have you seen that one?
Mm-mm.
So anyway, she's born for survival. That's what I'm getting at.
I mean, that alone right there qualifies her for a lot of stuff.
No, for sure. But yeah, no, I thought Zombeavers was really fun. It was weird. It was a wacky movie, but it was a very entertaining one to say the least.
It'd be like Jim Henson Creatures if they had been on a lot of drugs.
If. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. If they had added radioactive material to the mix.
Sure. To the backstory. Yeah.
Oh, no, it was good. Creature design was a ton of fun. The kills were the ones that we got to see are creative.
Crazy.
The effects where they turn everybody into zombies are top notch.
I promise you this. I think those are the moments that you never forget, are the moments where the people become the beavers. You're like, what the fuck? It's crazy. Like,
drooling.
And oh my God. And we didn't say this specific line, but we did talk about like the scene leading up to it. But you know that part when Sam is like, you think she'll be okay? And they're like talking about the fact that like they don't know if her teeth would grow back. I'm like, y'all are idiots. What are you talking about right now? Because he's like worried about how she looks and like, is she gonna go back to being normal? Like, what is it? And you're and the friend is like, I don't think her teeth are just going to grow back. Like there's like this whole moment of conversation about whether or not she's coming back from this normal looking or not. So.
It's not the giant tail or the claws.
The teeth. The teeth is the part he's the most concerned with. Yeah, it's weird. But anyway.
Oh, so good.
Well, cool. Well, I think that's our thoughts on the 2014 crazy movie, Zombeavers. It's streaming on like a bunch of places, so you can watch it pretty much everywhere. I think free
I
places.
think I watched it on
Tubi, but I think it's also on like Plex, and I feel like it was on something else. But I think I watched it on Tubi as well because I remember having ads. But either way, you can watch it for free if you're interested in watching it. And yeah, that's gonna, I think, wrap us up for our second episode of Horror Bestie Breakdown. I don't know what movie we're doing next. We have a list that we're getting through, but we'll be back soon with more of those. So thanks so much for hanging out with us. We hope you have a good rest of your day, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
I forgot.
I realized I didn't.
I
realized I didn't do it last time, and I was like,
oh.